Okay, I'm live. Hey, we're back. Episode 4. If you guys haven't seen the other episodes, they're somewhere on a playlist on my channel. But welcome back to Pages to the Screen. It's me, Melissa. I have Sam and I have Tiff Talks Pages. Tiffany is here.
Woo!
That's booktube. It is informative and as I told you before, it's very insightful. I always love hearing your opinions on these novels out here, and it's like a service to the community because you like the actual booktubers, y'all read so much, but it's so good because then I can get all of your recommendations.
Yeah. That's how I told my best bestie. I was like, "You're doing the work, girl. Now I'm just gleaning the cream from the top." Okay.
Y'all reading like 20, 40 books a month. Thank
That's
you.
crazy.
Thank you.
Crazy. In the best way possible.
No, it's a service because then I can just watch their videos and then pile up my TBR. It is a service that you're doing. So thank you, Tiff, and thank you to all the other booktubers out there in the booktube world because it's great. It's amazing.
It's
Fun. Yeah, that's what I love. Like we're just like creating our passions out here. I should open up this chat to see if anybody's writing. But yeah, so some housekeeping stuff. If you guys are watching this in playback, please let me know in the comments what book that you would want to see in a movie or a show. If you want to support the channel, please hit that like button and also subscribe. I do this stream once a month and then I sprinkle in some other types of content. Like I'll do like movie vlogs or I'll do some other things. I have other content planned that I'm going to come out with. So stay tuned for that. And please also follow these ladies. All of their socials should be at the description of this video. And if they're not, I'm going to add them, but they should be because I try to prepare. I try to be prepared for things as much as I can.
She's prepared.
You are.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I'm so excited. So before we get into it, I just want to know what you guys are reading lately and what you have been loving lately.
Oh, right now I'm in the middle of Bright Like Midnight by Julia Cross. Juliet. I love her so
I just read my first book from her. The one that just came out. It's called Bright Like Wildfire.
Like Wildfire. That's what I mean. That's what I'm reading. I like literally it.
Wait, did you say Midnight?
Midnight. That's a different. That's a bully romance by Jay Wolf that I'm thinking about that I still haven't gotten to. But yes.
Okay, so you're reading that small town romance that's like really steamy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god! Wait,
so you like the steam too?
It's a requirement.
She's reading dark romance. She's reading all that stuff.
Yes.
I like the steamy, kinky, dark.
She reads like
yes.
She reads.
Yeah, I like that heady steam, where there's like emotional work being done. But I'll take the spice in a novella too. I love that.
I'm so excited you're reading it. So I know she's very popular for her paranormal series, but this was my first book from her. So I read that, and then I read Parks and Provision. And so now I'm gonna read. I haven't done paranormal at all since like Twilight. But because I loved her books, I want to check out her paranormal romance.
Girl, please, and DM me while you were reading it. And everything. The newest one, I mean, she spoiled us this year. Okay? Parks and Provocation. Now, I mean, I just recently read Always Practice Safe Hex, which is the 4th in her paranormal series. Like, it's worth the read. And try out the audiobooks because those are like eargasm, venom vibes.
Yes. Are you almost done with the Wildfire book? Or like halfway?
I just started it.
Oh my god. Okay, you have to DM me once you are done. I have like a bookish group chat with Sam and like 2 other girls. I've been telling them, y'all, I have been on a book slump of like 3-star reads, and this is like my I've been so excited and telling everyone to read it because it got me so excited. It was really good. She got me in.
I mean, they're going to be acting.
So in the book, they are like community theater actors, Sam.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like a hate to love story because like he did something when they were teenagers in high school and she has never gotten over it. It's a grumpy sunshine, but like she's the grump, which is what I love.
That's what you know about.
It's always the reverse. So like he's like the one that's like more like sunny. and then she's kind of like grouchy because she's holding that grudge. So I love when there's like a snarky bitch and then the guy softens her up. Like it's like
melt,
he's the one that's like pining and he falls hard and it's so good, so good.
Yes, amazing.
Add it to your TBR. I know we all have really long TBRs, but that one is worth it. It's totally worth it. What are you reading, girl?
So I've stopped, not because I don't like it. It's just, life gets in the way, but I just finished. So I actually had like 2 or 3 weeks where I don't know what it was. And I was just like, I need to read. So in like a 2-week span, I finished Verity by Colleen Hoover.
Okay.
And then I did A Court of Thorn and Roses.
Oh.
And then I'm halfway through Book Lovers.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us how you're feeling. How you felt about
I'm very into Book Lovers, and and me and Mel have talked about this before. I have not a bad habit, but I have a habit of like, they always say like never judge a book by its cover, but I've found great books by judging by the cover.
Okay.
And a lot of the times I don't read the synopsis. Like Book Lovers, I literally grabbed it because one of the girls in our chat that me and Mel have, she just kept talking about it. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to grab it. So I did not read what it was about. I didn't like look it up online. I just started reading it, and I'm a little halfway through and I'm very into it. We know what's going to happen. And me and Mel talk about this too, where I go back and forth where I eat it up and I'm so into the corniness and I'm just like, ugh, so dumb, but I can't stop reading. But it's good, and I'm pretty sure I know where it's gonna go. But I'm curious as to how and when.
There you go.
I'm trying to be more open to it.
I love that. It's about the journey. It's like, how do they get to that HEA?
Exactly.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm into it.
And Avatar, did you listen to the graphic audio?
Say that again?
Did you listen to the graphic audio of Avatar, of A Court of Thorns and Roses?
No. So, again, me and Mel discussed this recently. For some reason, I cannot get into audio.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. I've tried like a couple of times, and maybe Mel's told me that like I just need to find that book that just that works for me. But so far, I just cannot concentrate on an audio. I can't do it.
That's fair. I mean, if you do a little sample of the graphic audio, ambient noises. Oh yeah, girl.
I only got into audio in the beginning so I would use them to reread books that I know that I already liked. That's how I started. Because for me, in a way, it was kind of like bringing that story to life, like as a movie, like the closest thing that I can get to, because I know that I already liked it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I would pick up the audios and like reread them that way. And that's how I got into it. So maybe you could try that perhaps.
That's actually...
Then you already know like what's coming, what's happening, but you're just like hearing the characters come to life.
That's not a terrible idea. This is going to be slightly embarrassing, but I've never reread a book.
That's not embarrassing at all. Do you know how busy we are? Like, I mean,
so it's hard. It's hard to reread sometimes because I do want to move on to my TBR list. But when I do get in a slump, sometimes I will like reread some stuff. Maybe not all the way through. But I'm
a rereader of sections of books. Like I will tab favorite parts, and I will just come and pull it, and I will read a favorite scene.
I love that.
Like, I do a lot, like full on rereads of books. Unless there's a book club or someone's talking about it, then I'll sit down. So like I haven't done like full read. Is that true? I haven't done like full read. Like I haven't fully reread a book in a minute. It's always like sections, unless it's a part of a book club or a live show or something.
So I'm thinking, because I want to read the second book I want to read Ready Player 2, but it's been so long since I've read Ready Player One, and I don't want to. It was great, but I just don't want to spend my time rereading the whole thing. So maybe I can try the audio for that one.
Yeah, try it. That would be a good experiment.
Okay, I'm gonna try
experiment with graphic audio, because talking about cinematic, just the ambient noises, the music, it can either crash you or bother you. Yeah, like it's just try them out, especially if you're reading, Avatar.
Yes. Okay. I think I'm gonna try it.
And how did you like? Oh, so did you like the what's it called again? Avatar?
Yeah, A Court of Thorn and Roses. I was very into it. I actually never really read much fantasy. And again, that was another book I did not read what it was about. That's one that I just saw everywhere. It was following me online when I was in the bookstores, when I was just in any store that had books randomly. It was everywhere. And I was like, all right, if I see it again, maybe I'll get it. And I think I forgot where I was, and it was like a buy one get one half off, and I was like, all right, we're doing this. And so I was like, okay, let's just get into it. I did not read the back, and I had no idea what was happening in the beginning. I was like, what book is this? I was very into it. It was fantasy, which intimidates me a little bit because I feel like I always struggle remembering all the creatures and what they're called and
world building.
I need posted cinema.
That's why I haven't gotten into fantasy, because I like to keep
a lot. Yes. Well, so there was, you know what? No, I'm lying. I don't think that's one that I got buy one, get one half off. I think that's
what I was going to say. Where? I was like, where did you get, this SJ?
Was it? No, I think it was at Barnes & Noble's. It was on, they have like their little, their tables or whatever, and it was on one of those. Yes. But I made a habit to have my laptop open. It was, when I went, it was. Okay. I had my laptop open, and so when I didn't know a word, I would just Google it. Because like I was like, I can always like tab it or put a post-it or underline it or whatever. And I was like, but I'm not gonna go back to it. So I was like, let me just Google it. And so that kind of helped me a little bit. And I was very into it. But of course now I'm stuck because I didn't realize it was a series, and now I need to read the rest of the series.
Yes, you do. You need to just read book. You gotta read book 2. Okay, you gotta read book 2.
Yeah, Gabby said that she likes the second book a lot, Sam. So I would take Tiff's advice and continue to read.
I gotta do it.
You with book 2, girl. Actually, we're doing the SJM along right now. So I mean, you just you play and live.
But not before you read my book that I've been recommending.
I know you've been telling me about it for so long. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay, because I just want to see if you would like other historical romance novels.
What book did you recommend?
I recommended Lady Gets Lucky because that was my first Joanna Shute book. See, look, Tiff is smiling. Tiff is smiling.
Yeah, that should be it.
Okay, Tiff is smiling. That's a signal. And I told you, Gabby really liked it too.
Yes.
So I think you would like it. And I need you to read it, see if you like it. Hopefully you do. And then after that, you'll read book 3, which is the live that I did with Tiff, the Bride Goes Rogue.
Yes.
We did up this. And then book 4 comes out early next year. And I know that you want to be a part of that read along when it comes out.
I do.
You start with Lady Gets Lucky. It's so good.
Okay. Lady Gets Lucky. You got it.
You're ready to start dishing them out if she likes it.
It is sexy. It is steamy. As you know, I don't read like closed door books. And if I do, I'm mad. I'm like, there's no purpose to this. Oh man, cool. Well, that was fun. That's what we're reading. Did I say what I was reading? Well, I recently read I keep reading the title. It's Bright Like Wildfire. I recently read that and then I loved it. I immediately read Parks and Provocation, and now I'm gonna dip into her paranormal. I haven't done paranormal, y'all, in a long, like since I was like a teenager. So I'm gonna go into it with an open mind because I just wanted to keep it like in the real world. But I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try because I've liked her other books, so I will try it.
I can't. I'm just gonna be staring at Tiff this entire time.
Isn't she like a beam of light?
Yes.
She's amazing. She's amazing.
Like, I'm gonna let you decide.
I don't think there's a genre that Tiff doesn't like. I feel like you read everything. You read historical, contemporary, dark, fantasy. You read everything.
Nice.
Yeah. That's great. That's amazing. I'm like slowly getting into other things. Like I started a taboo novella because it's like a really big age gap, which in my definition, maybe for you, it's not that taboo because I know there's like other like more taboo novels out there, but I haven't finished it yet. I had put it down like a while ago, but it's not a DNF. I do plan to finish it.
Is it 20 years?
Like 20 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she's 18. She's 18. He's like 41.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in a historical though, which I find more acceptable because the girls back then would marry really, really older men. So I'm able to like rationalize it that way in my mind. Yeah, so that helps. Cool. All right. So let's move on to the main purpose of this show, pages to the screen. All right. I feel like I should offer Tiff to go first because she's the guest host on the show. If you want to go first, no pressure. I can go first. But if you want to go first.
I can go first.
Oh, look at you. You brave.
I love the okay. I love
the There is your book, The Grip Trilogy by Kennedy Ryan. Explain to the viewers what this series is about.
Okay, so this starts out with the prequel novella, which is Flo, and we're introduced to Bristol. She's affluent. She's really a wasp, okay? She comes from money, and she's been estranged from her twin brother. She's currently in college, and she decides to fly from New York to LA to spend spring break with him. And it comes out later on in the series that he's really afraid to link back up with her because he emancipated himself from his family. He was like a musical prodigy, and his parents really milked that for what it's worth. It caused a drug addiction, and so he emancipated himself, moved in with his uncle, hasn't seen her, and she really wants to reconnect. So when she arrives in LA, his best friend picks her up, Rip. And he's picking her up with this like picture of her when she was like 15 years old, and he meets this woman, and it is just he's poetic, he's charming, he's genuine. They cover so much ground in such a short amount of time in terms of their connection because of their open and honest communication about some pretty heavy topics about race, about class, and it is just about this spring break fling and just like their soul connection. And at the end of that book, something happens, okay, like a third party type of situation enters the chat and it separates them. And in the second book, Grip, it's 8 years into the future where, Bristol's now reunited with her brother. They own their own record label. She is managing Grip's career. He is an up and coming rapper. He's got a single out. They're about to like debut his like first album. She's managing, other acts. And it is this like beautifully angsty. I think this is the most beautifully angsty slow burn between them where she's pushing him away because she fears getting lost in him. She grew up pretty affluent in terms of like, like she had means, but she was really bankrupt in terms of being loved. And so she doesn't really know how to be loved. And he's just painstakingly standing there ready and willing when she's ready to take the lead. I just freaking love it. So like Grip is really about them coming together. I want to see it on the screen because of the meaty and enriching conversations around race. This is an interracial couple, around feminism, class, privilege. She really goes there. His family isn't really accepting of her, and her family isn't accepting of him. It also has that like high shining gloss of the music industry, of celebrity, of public image. And I think there are characters that are representative of the sort of like stakes or positions within these conversations. Like his mother. His mother is like, date who you want to date, but you're going to marry a Black woman. You're going to bring a queen back to this home. And so to see her experience how much Bristol loves Grip and the way in which he feels about her and how she softens. I mean, he like feels that void of like what her mother failed to do is just beautiful. And on the other hand, he has a cousin Jade who is rigid throughout and sees her as that, she sees her as that trophy, you're his white trophy. He's got fame now. Of course, he chose you. So, and she softens, but it takes some time. And just Grip is really about them coming together, and still is about them and their marriage. Like she takes it that step further. It could have just been a great duet, but we get to see their struggles in their marriage, how they're buffeting all of these opinions of their relationship, how they make sacrifices for each other, their trigger warnings for fertility issues. Oh, just that whole journey. It broke me. And the wedding is probably the best wedding that I have ever read in a book. Best vows I just read Persuasion by Jane Austen. So, I mean, those weren't vows. So, best vows that I have ever read. So, I definitely want to see it on screen. I mean, she just got the Hoops trilogy, and I think not Kingmakers, I'm thinking about Sophie Lark. I think 2 of her trilogies got options for limited television shows. I think it was like Traveling Picture Show, optioned those. So, I mean, make the Grip trilogy, throw some budget on that, because I would love to see them on screen.
That sounds like a lot of drama.
Yes.
A lot of different elements. You have like the interracial couple, and then they have to deal with pressure from both families. That's tough. Then there's like the whole music industry. And it kind of sounds like it has some of my catnip. Like, she's trying to like push him away, but he's trying to like.
Oh, he's there, like oozing.
Yeah. Oh
okay, he's pushing him towards another artist that the public wants to see him with. Okay, so we got that angst where he's like, "Fine, you want me to date her? I'm going to date her because you want me to." She's dealing with the mother saying, "You don't know what it's like to be a Black woman. I don't know why you want to be with my son. I don't know why you want to be with my man." This is coming from Jade, from Jade and Queen. This is, I mean, it's all of the angst, all of the drama, and like she too has a counterpart, or that's like really mirrored in like her storyline with someone like this Parker skeevy guy who like kind of projects who she should quote unquote be with. It's just.
This sounds very angsty. My favorite part. Okay. So the steam. I have discovered that I like things that are like pretty direct and descriptive. If a book is like describing it feels like the ocean's rocking against the rocks. No. Like I need you to say what it is. What is he like? Where are the hands? Where is he touching? What's happening?
I want graphic depictions of the mechanics, but get poetic with those emotions. Give me booze. You want to get flowery? Tell me about how they're becoming inextricably linked while, we're getting into a few new positions. Like, I don't know. I need graphic depictions as well.
I do too. I'm the same way. We're in the same steamy wavelength there.
I just need to know, like, it's mental gymnastics. Like, because I'm thinking, like, especially when we get into poly romances, I'm like, where
are all the arms and the hands and the fingers?
You need a visual. You want to know what's happening.
I do. For me, that makes a big difference. I've realized that lately. Like, if you're using metaphors to describe it, it's not gonna work for me. I need you to call it what it is, and where is it?
What I recently read where she was talking about the folds, I got tired. It was like a series of books where like folds.
I see folds a lot though.
Yeah, and I'm like, folds.
Authors be using folds a lot.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. And you see this as like a mini series, like 3-season series?
I'd rather do film.
Oh, so it's interesting.
Yeah, I would like, because their relationship really spans across time, and I'd love to see that in a film. throw the budget at that wedding. But I'd like to see it from the very beginning. Maybe like, a little montage of her brother's, trauma of being that child prodigy. Like, do the whole lot of it. I'd like to see it be a film. Definitely.
And so your favorite scene that you're choosing is the wedding scene? Like, that is the scene that would have to be in your film?
Yes. I mean, Bristol telling his mother that you will always be his queen. I was like, yes. And his vows are everything. So yes, the wedding. I'd love to see that.
Beautiful. And do you have like a network in mind? In case you do, because I do like to ask this question. Maybe it's like a Netflix or like HBO Max or a Hulu or fucking Peacock.
Netflix and I are really on good terms in terms of adaptations at the moment. So no, not
Slight shade. Yeah.
I haven't really thought of. Typically, like with any kind of show, I want like HBO or like Showtime. I like how Showtime kind of nails it.
I feel like you can get more steam with HBO or Showtime.
That's why I always choose HBO. Like, HBO's not afraid to go there.
They're the heavy hitters. I mean, they were the ones to open the field. So like they get really good with the grit if it were to be a TV show. But in terms of like studios, I'm not sure.
Okay, I see 4 of you are watching. Y'all, write in the comments. Don't be shy. Have you read these books? Do you have books that you want to see as TV or film? Because now there's 3. If you're watching this in the playback, let me know in the comments what books you want to see on the screen. Or what book do you want me to even like talk? Maybe I'll read a book for you so I could talk about it on the show. You don't know what could happen on pages to the screen. Just saying. There you go. Suggest these books. But cool, nice. The beautiful opening tip. Sam, are you ready?
I'm pumped. I mean, I hate that I have to go after Tiff. I feel like that's just not fair. But I'll try. I'm gonna try.
It is. You're all good. We're all book lovers. We're all bookish people. There's so many different genres. It's all good. You're gonna be speaking to somebody out there. Okay.
That's very true. That's very true. I chose The Wedding Dates. It was another book. I have a habit of I don't read what the books are about for the most part. Honestly, I saw the cover and the cover was really pretty. And I was like, oh, that's cute.
I've seen that cover around Barnes and Nobles for like years. I just haven't read it yet.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, it's bright. This is fun. I probably read, maybe I skimmed the synopsis, but basically it is a meet cute. And I love a good meet cute, even the cheesy ones that I'm just like, this would never happen. I'm still very into it. So it's a meet cute where Drew and Alexa get stuck in an elevator, and I know, they get stuck in the elevator, and they're in I forget for how long, but they're in there for some time, and basically, she says that they're in a hotel, and she's at this hotel because her sister's in town. She's meeting up with her sister. She's so excited she's there. Then he's in town for a wedding, and he explains to her that his date dropped out and he's going dateless. And she's like, oh no, that sucks. And it's basically his ex-girlfriend's wedding that he's going to. But not only is he a guest, he's in the wedding party. He's one of the groomsmen.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
Wait. Sorry. I have ADD. He's a groomsman to whose wedding exactly?
His ex-girlfriend's wedding. He's a groomsman he's part of the wedding party.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So exactly. I was like, huh. So basically, and so they talk about it and she's like, oh, that sucks, whatever. So they have like a mini picnic in the elevator because she has like wine and cheese and crackers to celebrate with her sister. Because she's in town, and so they like start nibbling a little bit, but she said she wants to like save the rest for her sister. So the elevator starts working again. They get off, and they're going on opposite sides. They get off on the same floor, of course. She goes one way, he goes the other way. He calls after her, and he's like, "What do you think about being my date this weekend?" So she agrees. She never takes a risk, and she decides to take a risk. It'll be a weekend of fun. So they go to the wedding together. They have a great time. And probably my favorite scene is not just the wedding, but she ends up sleeping over in the hotel. And the next morning, he needs to leave early to get back on the plane, to get back to his life. But he ends up having such a good time with her that he doesn't tell her, but he switches his flight to leave that night so he can spend the day with her. And I'm like, well, I'm into this. And so they spend the day together, and they're both kind of just like, they're so themselves and they're so open to everything because they think nothing's going to happen. They're like, this is a weekend fling, whatever. So they end up exchanging numbers, but they're like, nah, nothing's going to happen. So then, of course, what happens is they end up, they're in California, but one I think is in like San Francisco and one's in like San Diego, I think.
And this is a drive. Keep going.
And so what they end up doing is they were like, oh, well, I want to extend this weekend of fun. So they start flying out to each other like every weekend or every other weekend. And the story continues of how they're just having fun, but, you know, they're starting to catch feelings. And, you know, what I really like is that they both have like these really like good lives. Like he's a doctor, she works for the mayor. Like they have really important things that they need to focus on and take care of. But I feel like there's in like a lot of these stories, there's always like someone like just doesn't know what to do, or they're kind of lost. And like you have these two grown folks, they know what they love, they know what they're doing. And I aspire to be that because I'm not a grown folk that, you know, knows what they're doing. So and so I really liked that. And I also like that it was a really easy read. I think it just kind of takes you out of, you know, life. And I just like to get lost in the book where you don't really take everything so seriously, even though there are serious undertones. So she is African American and he's white. And what I loved is that I love an interracial couple story, but I also love that there's different narratives with that. I love that there's a narrative where that's the main focus and it's really deep and it hurts to read it, and it's, you know, but then there's also ones where that's not the main narrative, that it's a thing. It's, you know, you talk about it and it's, you know, it's obviously a factor, but they're more than that. I don't know if that makes sense. And so I like that you have those different narratives. And for this one, it wasn't the main narrative. It was discussed. It wasn't ignored, but it also didn't stay on that. The story, it hit that point, and I think it was really important to hit that point. And then it kept going with their love and all that stuff. And so one of the ways that I liked how they touched up on it, I think it's at the wedding, or I think they're at like another event together, and one of Drew's friends, as Alexa walks away, Drew's friend goes up to him and starts like, you know, it's like, oh, who's that? Is that your girlfriend? Whatever. And he makes a comment, and I can't remember what the comment was. But he said something about her being Black and him being white. Mm-hmm. And so he kind of brushed it off. And when she comes back, she can see that he's like visibly annoyed. And she's like, what happened? And he goes, no, my friend was just giving me a hard time. And she's like, it was about me, wasn't it? And of course he's like, no, it wasn't about you. And she's like, it was about me. And he goes, yeah, but don't pay no mind. And I love, because she was like, he either said a comment on my hips or my skin color. And he was like, the latter. And she goes, okay. And like they had maybe said one or two more comments about it. And then they were just like, they recognized that the guy was an asshole, and that people unfortunately are still going to say dumb shit. But it just, they didn't let it get to them. And obviously not that, like, you know, if it's going to hurt you, obviously let it hurt you. But I liked the way that they did that. And I feel like the book overall was a very casual book, and it wasn't a serious book. And so I like how they did that. And then, you know, the story just kind of continues with will they, won't they? And, you know, she doesn't know if she wants anything serious. He for sure knows he doesn't want anything serious, but he can't help it because he's super into her. So it's that story of, you know, like what's going to happen. And I was very into it. I think not my only, but I think my biggest complaint was just Drew. I still can't get with these characters it's usually a male character that, you know, you have a female character and she's been burned in the past, and everybody tells her, hey, not all men are the same. You got to keep going. You got to keep putting yourself out there. And I'm like, I agree, you know, but when the male character has been burned in the past, women are trash.
Oh,
they're all trash. And they're like, yeah, man, women suck.
Why he doesn't want to pursue something serious because he's been burned in the past? Is that his reason?
Yeah, he's been burned in the past like fucking once.
Yeah.
Like,
but that's what it takes for guys.
That's it.
Right?
It could have happened in preschool.
One bad breakup and all women are trash.
No, I don't care what happened to you when you were 16. Get over it, sir. I'm done with this. I'm done with it. So that was my only thing where I was like, okay, like he's been burned and, you know, he wants to live the playboy life. And, you know, he has this friend, Carlos, who's his best friend, who is, which I also really liked that you had another male character that Alexa was introduced to, and there wasn't any sexual tension. He wasn't a perv. He genuinely wanted them to be together, and he would like help. Like one time where she had flown in to see him, he's a doctor, so he was on call. So Carlos picked her up from the airport and was like, oh, like, let's get you food. He doesn't have any food in his house. And like, it wasn't flirty. You didn't get any like weird vibes. He was just being genuinely nice. And I was like, granted, that might not be very common, but I like to see that. I want to see that support and like, he's not hitting on her. You know what I mean?
Carlos getting a book.
I don't know. I'm okay with Carlos getting one though.
Right.
I'm very okay with this. But yeah, and so the story kind of continues, and you know, you figure out like they do want to be together, but they can't keep flying, you know, back and forth forever. And so you're like, okay, well, one of them's got to move, and you're like, but he's a doctor and he's a you know, he works with kids, and then she has this amazing job with the mayor, and you know, she's doing really important work, reaching out to the youth, and so you're just like, man, like I don't want either one of them to move, but I want them to be together. So I did like that, and I think it would be
a source of conflict, the geography, like both actually live in different places, because then as a reader you really don't know, like, okay, like what's going to happen, who's going to quit their job, what's going to happen.
Right, because somebody needs to in order for this to work.
Yeah.
I think that this would be a really fun, lighthearted Netflix movie where you're just like, this looks ridiculous, press play.
Yeah. Is it steamy?
Huh?
Is it steamy? Or is it like close?
It is a little, excuse me, it is a little steamy. I mean, I imagine we're good with spoilers at this point. They hook up like the night of the wedding, and like that was like the second day they knew each other. And so, and I like how she's typically a little more reserved, but she's like, I'm never gonna see this guy again, like whatever. And then like they go at it, and it's not super steamy, they don't super go into it.
Yeah.
But it was still nice enough. Like, I mean, it's steamy in the sense that they literally have sex all the time. They go back and forth to have sex.
That's what I'm saying. What's validating these freaking air flight tickets? Okay. Back and forth just to chat.
He also has a lot of points. Has a lot of miles. So they go. The thing is that they don't they don't do a lot of graphic, like they don't explain everything. They're the first to be like, and then I jumped him, and then they do a little, but it's not super steamy. There's a little steam, but it's not very graphic.
Okay.
But there's steam. No, see
that there's steam for sure. They just, I mean, they fly to each other to literally have sex with each other. But you just don't know. You don't know everything that's happening. You know, they'll kind of tell you like, and then I threw her on the bed, and he'll talk for like a minute, and you're like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, and then it's the next morning, and you're like, shit.
It kind of fade to black then.
A little bit. I did not hate it. I was like, all right, I'm into this, and then you get a little frustrated, but it's the good frustrated, and you're like, all right, when's the next weekend?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this sounds like something I definitely would watch on Netflix.
Right. I feel like it's just like I don't even know how to explain it, but you know when you're going through Netflix and you just know like those movies, you're like, this is for the 20-something-year-olds, and I'm very into this. You could just tell by like the they don't even have to play the trailer when where you're like skim over it. It's just like the photo, the poster, and you're like, yeah, watch it.
It's brain candy. Yes. Yeah.
Cool. And I don't know if you mentioned it already, but is there like a scene that you feel like you would really want to make it to the screen?
I think that because they get together so quickly, I feel like for me to believe that they're super into each other, I would like them to take the time to maybe not so much the wedding, but the day after the wedding. So he flies in on like a Thursday or Friday. I think he flies in on a Thursday. She needs to like find a dress and she's running around on Friday. And then Saturday's the wedding, and Sunday morning he was supposed to leave, but he ends up switching his flight Sunday night. And so I feel like I want to see Sunday because I feel like that's what's going to sell me. Definitely Saturday night for sure when they go back to the room. But I think Sunday's also gonna sell me because if they're just going back and forth like to have sex with each other, like that's great, but then they're fighting for the relationship at some point, and I need to be invested. And I could be invested in their sex life, but if I'm going to be invested in the relationship, I want to see Sunday. They like they go to the park, they're having like ice cream in the park, they're laying down on like this picnic blanket, and you're like, you guys just met, and you're just like, you just have that connection. So I need to see that in order to enjoy the rest.
That's a good call. So you're actually like adding a scene of sorts, like to be able to see more of the build up.
Well, we go through Sunday, like we read like what they do Sunday. I just feel like that'd be something that'll be easily taken out.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
I think it's going to be easy for them to take that out, and I kind of understand it, but I don't know. I'd want to see. I need to see a good, at least like 2 scenes from Sunday. I want to see that because I just feel like, especially when you see him switch flights, like that's such a pivotal moment because then that also gets brought up like towards the end. It's like a full circle moment where he admits like, I've always cared about you, whatever, like the stupid cheesy monologue, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna barf, but then you just can't help it and you just keep going.
We love it. We love it.
Stupid.
Yeah, I love that. I would definitely totally watch it. And I guess we're gonna stick to the same-ish. I don't know how funny yours was, but mine is like a rom-com. It is a rom, and it's also com.
So it's a rom-com, is what you're saying.
I'm saying it's romantic and it's funny, and it is The Singles Table by Sarah Desai. I may be butchering her last name. It is a South Asian romance, and what that means is these are South Asian characters written by a South Asian author. Okay, this was a series that I didn't realize was a series because I read this one first, but it's the last book.
You always do that.
No, I genuinely didn't know that this was the last book, but thankfully it's one of those series where each book is pretty much a standalone, so I was able to get right in and not get lost. But it stars the female character. I think her name is Zara. I'm sorry, I didn't re-look this up. Being a really professional host, I know. And then his name is, I think his name is also with a Z. Look, I'm gonna call him the hero and the heroine. Look, okay, yeah. He is like this like brooding ex-military dude who has like a security company. He works as like a bodyguard for like celebrities and whatnot.
Whitney Houston.
Huh?
He works for Whitney Houston? Bodyguard?
Yes. They are in like the same friend group. She is this very vivacious, life of the party type of girl. She's very like extroverted. Remember, he's like kind of like brooding. And she works as like a lawyer, but she's also / a community theater actor / matchmaker. She's a Jane of all trades. And it's sort of like an enemies to lovers because they meet at like this, I think this bachelorette or like a I guess like a co-ed, I can't remember. But they meet at like their friend group. What's the thing with the gun? Like the paintball? I think she hits him on the ass, and like from there they kind of go. They start off on the wrong foot and whatnot, But then eventually, as they keep bumping into each other in like other friend events, as I said, she's a matchmaker and he is an only child of a single mom. And they kind of come from a broken family because I think something happened in India where they actually had to leave, and like the whole family just like doesn't acknowledge her anymore. So his mom is like his only family. He doesn't know, like, you know, like what being a big family feels like. So she makes him promise to please, please, please find somebody out there. I want you to be loved and find love. Because, you know, like if I'm like gone one day, I don't want you to be alone. So, you know, he's like this like broody, grumpy guy. Like he loves his mom so much. So like he makes that promise. And, you know, of course, she's a matchmaker, right? And she helps all her friends find love. But also important to note, she doesn't believe in love for herself, though.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah. She doesn't want to. She feels like it's not in the cards for her because of her family broken background. She comes from like a very loving and big family. She's very family oriented, but her parents did break up, and I think like her mom isn't in her life anymore. Like she like moved away somewhere else. So her dad is like her guy. Like her dad is like her life. So because of seeing that broken divorce situation, she's like, it doesn't work. Why bother marry? But I'll find you someone. So that's how she feels. And then she makes a deal with him that if he, cause she's very also celebrity obsessed, if he brings her around these celebrity events, because he's the security guard, she'll help him find his perfect match. So it has a lot of tropes that I do like. It has like that grumpy sunshine. It has the let's make a deal, and then I always like the let's make a deal because it plays into the whole falling for the person that you didn't expect to, and obviously there's always like that initial insta attraction, but she legitimately makes like a whole list for him of like different people that he could date, and that also entails spending more time together. So then they kind of like so then that attraction kind of grows more and more. And yeah, I really liked it because I thought it was very funny. There are a lot of funny scenes. Like there's a scene where I think she takes him to like some art gallery thing that her dad is throwing, and she doesn't exactly know what the show's going to be about until they actually walk in there, and there's like a whole bunch of different paintings of like vaginas all around them. So then when she walks in, she's like, there are labias all around. Like, just like super hilarious like that. And it's interesting because even though she is the one that's like the sunny one of the relationship, and I think it's an interesting complexity to explore, somebody who is so about life but she's so not about accepting and letting love in for herself. So I think that's interesting. And then it's also interesting for him because even though he's not very family oriented, and he wasn't interested in finding somebody, he is the one that's open to a relationship with her first. So it also has something else that I like is when the guy falls first. And she gets very kind of like freaked out because he kind of like like he knows she's kind of skittish about relationships. So he kind of like low-key tries to like let her know that, you know, he's actually starting to really feel her and having deeper feelings, but he's trying not to scare her at the same time. But you know, he's gotta play his game and cards right because he doesn't want to scare her off. And one of my favorite scenes, it's of course a steamy scene that I would like it to be. I would like it to be in the show because like she walks into his office, and at this point he's already decided that like, yo, you keep bringing me all these girls that I'm just like not interested in. And she's coming in, she has like a full list of all these different girls, and she starts like naming, you know, their names and their qualities and their jobs. And he's like, all right, fine, let me know. Tell me the list. I'm listening. So like as soon as like she walks in the office, she sits down, she's naming all these girls. He is coming closer and closer to her. And each time that she's naming somebody, he's like, no, but does she do this? Does she do that? And each time like he's naming something that he likes about her.
Oh, keep going.
And then she's answering no, and he's like next, and he's coming closer and closer to her. Basically, it is a cunnilingus scene. So every time that he's like pass, he's naming like an attribute that he is referencing, to her, and she's like no. And I just loved it because like he is trying so hard to like get her to get that like I like you. I'm not interested in anybody else. You keep trying to introduce me people that I don't have interest in. So why don't we just like, just like chill out for a second and just, see where this goes. But
chill out, lay back.
On her back for real. It's from the chair to the desk to the sofa. Yeah, so that was like really fun. I love like those cat and mouse scenes where it's not just steamy, but there's underlying things that are happening that are almost opposite. Like she's low-key trying to push him away, and he's trying to get closer to her. So it's done in a way that is it is steamy, and it's also funny, and it's also romantic because he's trying to let her know that I like you, I want to be with you, but she's like, relationships, no, I can't do it. Yeah, it was my favorite of the three, and I did read them backwards. I was happy I started with this one because the other two I didn't love as much as this one. And yeah, it's called The Single Stable by Sarah Desai. I think you should read it. It's good. And I see it on, because I would like that scene to be in, I feel like it can't be on Netflix. I don't know if HBO Max makes rom-coms. Maybe
they can start.
They could, because you know what? Every streaming service has them, because Hulu has them too, and HBO Max can
Hulu actually might do well. I enjoyed some of their Hulu can go there. I like some of their original content.
Yeah,
that's a lot of weird.
And he was also in the military, so he deals with PTSD, and that's one of the reasons why he's afraid of getting into a relationship, because he also has like night terrors. Like he's afraid of like hurting his partner. So that's why at first he was kind of like scared of that whole thing, and he has to deal with that, and then she has to deal with trying to heal and get answers from her dad. Like asking him like, why did you guys break up? How did you feel about that whole situation? And yeah, so it's like the story of them both of learning about relationships and family and the importance of it, and that your mind can change about certain things. Just because something didn't go well for somebody else doesn't mean that it's going to be your story as well. And and it's important to be like vulnerable and let people in and let people be there for you. So that was sweet.
She sounds like a jaded sunshine that would be confronting for me, but also fun. I like.
Yeah, I like it when it's the grumpy guy, but he's the one who wants the relationship. It's always like the sunshiny person. Yeah. So it's either like the grumpy pining hero that I like, or like the snarky bitch that I love also, who gets softened up at the end because she really likes the guy, and she's like, you know what, let's just do this. Yeah, I think you guys should read it. Add it to your TBR. It has a lovely cover. It's somewhere on this thumbnail. But yeah, the rom-com. This is our long.
I love that. That's like a favorite trope of mine. Like when they're helping them find their next partner. But
I love that trope.
I love that because they have to get to know each other to create.
Right.
That's why I love that trope. That's why I also kind of sometimes struggle with friends to lovers or second chance, because I like to see like the first meeting, the first time getting to know each other.
I love a good meet cute.
I love the meet cutes. I love seeing the whole journey of them being strangers, and then they bump into each other, and friends, maybe enemies, and they start falling in love. I like the whole first time journey. So that's my jam.
And I love forced proximity, like that elevator scene you depicted of like the picnic. I love forced proximity. Okay, corner them. I love that. And a reluctant falling. I love a reluctant falling. Someone that I'm done with love. I've packed it up. I'm good, and yet,
yes, I do like that. But I don't love when somebody literally doesn't believe in love. Because that was my problem with dating Dr. Dill. I remember specifically loving like 50% of that book, but then the hero was so like, I don't believe in love. I was like, I'm so tired of this. It was starting to feel so repetitive. So I was like, I'm gonna have to give this a 3-star.
No, it's like that. I like that terminal uniqueness, like that. I believe love exists. Like I see it out there. It's just not meant. Like that sort of like, you know, it's personal, relatable. You know, I love that. Like,
I like that complexity for sure. So I think you guys should add it to your TBR. You guys, if you are liking this content on the playback, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, and also hit up all of my amazing guest co-hosts up in the descriptions below. Also, there's my Goodreads down there. There's my movie club down there. Do all the things. And this was super fun. We got talking about tropes towards the end of the show, which I want to remind y'all, I want to do like a live ranking romance tropes, like with that tier ranking thing, but like doing it live with like different people. I think that would be really fun because we'll get into like a little bit of like debates and rank stuff, and that'll be fun.
I know what my
I have like a lot of like specific ones that I like, you know, specific ones.
I need to think more on it.
Like I like the whole like let's make a deal. I like the whole like lessons thing. Like if someone's getting like kissing or like sex lessons, I'm there. And then I like it when like the guy is like the one like who wants it, but he's like scared that she's gonna like throw him off. I love that stuff.
I love a bodyguard romance. Okay.
Yes. Which this one I guess doesn't really fall into that because he's not guarding her, but it's like his job. Yeah. I love a protective.
He's protective.
He is protective.
We love that.
We love that. I love that. I also like the cinnamon rolls. I would say the guy in the book that you're reading now, Tiff, he's kind of a cinnamon roll who have some alpha tendencies in certain areas.
See, I need that because sometimes I want a cinnamon roll that's gonna go after what he wants. You know, I need that. Okay, let's drive this plot. Okay, get up in there. That's what I want. So, but I trust Juliet. I know.
Oh my god. Okay, you have to DM me periodically, or if you want after you're done with the book, because I can't stop talking about it and I can't stop going back to certain scenes. It's so good. I love it. I can't wait till you're done. And then yes, Sam, are you reading right now or are you pausing right now?
I'm currently on pause.
Okay.
But hopefully, maybe this weekend, maybe. I don't know. I'm going to let you guys know. It's a goal of mine. I don't know if I'm going to reach it, but I've taken a break and I can't really take a break for too long because I have a terrible memory and then I'm going to forget what I read. So I need to get back on it.
Mm-hmm. For sure. I get that. All right. We're going to end the live here and then we'll stick backstage so I can give you guys a proper send off and goodbye. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're watching this on playback, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe if you like this content. Remember, I do this stream every single month. And yeah, look out on my Instagram for the announcement of the books. And remember, you can also recommend me a book to read that I may talk about on the show. Okay, cool beans. Stay safe, stay sane.